Let me start with a proclamation. Let no brain born into this soil be wasted without it being used for the development and prosperity of this nation. To repeat, let no brain born into this soil be wasted without it being used for the development and prosperity of this nation. And I want to say this in Sinhalese too. දේශයක පහළවන කිසිම පුරවැසියෙකුගේ බුද්ධිය එම දේශයේ සංවර්ධනය හා සමෘද්ධිය සඳහා පාවිච්චියට නොගෙන එම පුරවැසියාවට පොළවට පස්වෙන්න ඉඩ නොදිය යුතුයි. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct privilege and honor to address this esteemed audience of intellectuals of Sri Lanka and from around the world on the subject of innovation-based economic growth. Sri Lanka is one of the most beautiful nations on earth. The cloud-kissing mountains, the cascading waterfalls, our lush green mountain slopes, the golden sandy beaches, no doubt qualifies Sri Lanka to receive that accolade. And even more striking than that are the beautiful, bright brains that are in this audience and all over this extraordinary country. You know that there is an abundance of gems or gemstones in the Ratnapura district. However, once the stone is identified, one must cut and polish it properly for it to shine well, to be beautiful and brilliant. A piece of gemstone is of no use and no value unless we cut and polish this properly. Similarly, properly preparing the young minds to make them brilliant is the process of education, and it is the challenge that we have, which of course is the prerequisite for developing an innovation-based economy. Honorable Gotabaya Rajapaksa spoke about the importance of the economy, and I want to put forward to you specifically about economy that is based solely on innovation. So I want to share with you my thoughts on few essential factors and or ingredients about this very important current topic. And I will present them in the ascending order. There are many factors, but these are the 4 factors that I feel are very important. 1, we need an innovation infrastructure. We need funding. We need to establish incubators scattered all around this country. We need to bring people of similar mindset together to be synergistic in schools, in temples, in various public and private venues, a place to gather, exchange ideas, and we must promote and indoctrinate our young people to encourage each other. Not work alone, but work together. Develop a support system for each other. And that takes me to my second important criteria, teamwork. We must develop the concept of teamwork. Honestly, I feel this aspect is somewhat weak in Sri Lanka. If we look at successful sports teams, we see that they are able to win because of teamwork. You know, we cannot win cricket only because of Sangakkara. We have to provide him with a good team. Unfortunately, the current education system, in my opinion, discourages teamwork. The workforce cannot learn teamwork after they finish their tertiary education in the university, but must learn teamwork from the kindergarten. Competitive exams like advanced level, unfortunately, have completely eliminated the concept of teamwork. Teamwork is essential. No person with an innovative idea, including myself, can research, develop, perform market studies, prototype, manufacture, or sell the product without a team. Therefore, building the culture of sharing the gains among team members is an essential criterion for an innovation-based economy. Teamwork. Number 3, culture. This is an even a more important aspect of an innovation-based economy, the culture of innovation. As a nation, we must develop a culture that appreciates innovation, entrepreneurship, risk-taking, rather than a steady job in the government sector. So let me give you a very good example. If you look at marriage proposals in the newspaper, you can see how much we emphasize on a steady government job, because all the parents are looking for a groom who is a doctor or an engineer, not somebody who dropped out of school with a C grade and built Apple computer. This must obviously change. Talking a little bit more about culture, I want to talk about cricket again. 11 players from Sri Lanka can beat any one of the top teams in the world on any given Sunday. Don't you agree? Why? Because we placed a very important cultural value on cricket. Our nation made an important, conscious decision to do well in cricket about 30 years ago. And here we are today, one of the most respected teams in the world. You know very well that 11 people out of 20 million people can easily beat 11 people out of 1.2 billion people on any given Sunday. You know this more than me, of course. Now let's imagine doing the same of this cultural revolution in innovation. Just like we did in cricket, we can develop a culture of innovation, although we are only 20 million people. And we must do this not solely through words, but through actions. Talking more about cricket, you know that great players like Sangakkara or Muralitharan and others, they did not start playing cricket after finishing their education, did they? They did not. These great players start playing cricket when they were in grade school, probably with tennis balls. So do you think that we can begin the mindset of innovation after finishing university education. Absolutely not. The mindset of innovation must start in grade school. This is how it happens in the United States. And recently, I have observed the same happening in China as well. Point number 4. Earlier today, there was a session on education, and several speakers spoke several important aspects on education. Well, the forum was small, although they preempted some of the things that I was going to say with this large audience here. I'm glad I'm going to say somewhat similar things. Education is the most important criteria for developing an innovation-based economy. We undoubtedly have excellent students, as well as schools and universities of very high standards. Our students have done very well in other countries. In Europe, in America, in Japan, and many other countries, our students have excelled and become very highly qualified professionals. So there is no doubt how smart we are, how good we are in getting an education. There is no doubt. The question is, however, are we providing the type of education that will breed innovators? What would that education system be? Here is what I have seen and observed in the United States, and I'm now seeing similar things happening in China as well. In the United States, education is very broad-based. And I haven't seen that in Europe, and I haven't seen that in India, and I have not seen that even in China, although they are changing slowly. In my opinion, it is the most fundamental reason why the United States has been the world leader on innovation. I'm not saying this to highlight anything about the United States, but if you really think hard, think of any technology that you use today and ask yourself, where did it originate? Whether it's a microwave oven or whether it is the artificial intelligence, it doesn't matter. Everything that you think of has originated somehow in the United States. So my research and my observations have shown this is based mostly on the broad-based education. Everyone learns science, art, commerce, all the way to the university. We do not divide the students into arts and science and commerce at the 8th, 9th, or 10th grade. Students learn sciences, arts, all the way into the university. Students who enter medical school come from backgrounds like music, comes from backgrounds like business, comes from backgrounds like economics, not solely doing biology, zoology, or organic chemistry. Emphasis is students learn basics of science and the fundamentals of science more than theory. US education system is pretty much problem-based. We call it PBL, or problem-based learning. When it comes to medicine, we add another part to it called integrated learning system, or ILS. This problem-based learning and ILS is one of the most important factors that makes innovators. Because if you look at what an innovation is solving a problem. There is a problem that needs a solution. That whole process is called innovation. Learning is very much applications-oriented in order to meet the needs of the industry or the world. Not just theory that is memorized and tested with 10 questions after 2 years. Emphasis is on learning and not on teaching. Learning content through term papers with actual and realistic projects and continuous homework. Testing is done throughout the year and not just during the last month of the semester with 10 or so questions. Universities are well engaged in the industry and are research focused. Private sector is also well engaged with universities and academicians. Another factor, education should be available to everyone. We cannot, and I repeat, we cannot leave anyone behind, as we have no way of knowing who we should leave behind and who we should pick. In order to develop an innovation-based economy, we must rethink on our process of selection. Examinations should not be for selection or elimination. Examinations should be for determination of the student's skill set. Let's look at the 10 largest companies in the world, and you know most of them. They all happen in the Silicon Valley. And they were mostly started, and I'm almost going to say all, they mostly were started by school dropouts. These 10 companies are worth more than $4 trillion. If we take the 10 conventional companies like General Electric, DuPont, companies like that, they are only worth 1/10 of these 10 companies that were started by school dropouts. So that just tells a story, how innovation has taken a concept to reality and made a change in how the world operates. So about learning, in my own experience as a student, myself, and a teacher, here is something that I think is very useful. Students should learn to learn the material, because I know that what I learned when I was in GCO level is not the same thing that students who are in the 10th grade learns today. It's different. So why learn it? What we need to learn is to learn, because the material changes, science changes. If we know how to learn, then we can learn any day later on in our life. I remember when my son went to university and I was looking at his problems, I didn't understand anything what he's learning, because the material has changed. So in that my experience, I know what is important is learning to learn. So this morning in the forums, there were a lot of discussions about this, and so many ideas were brought out by providing the material over the web, over the internet. And I can promise you today that one of the things that will happen in the near future, within less than 10 years from now, education will be delivered to masses through the web, through the internet. So I asked you to start this process now, otherwise we in Sri Lanka will be left behind. Actually, in the United States, you can obtain a degree from a brand name university without ever stepping into their campus. And this concept is going to expand and continue. So therefore, it is time that we really seriously think about providing education for the masses digitally. So to conclude, we as a nation must find our niche in order to develop an innovation-based economy. As a small country, we must choose this wisely. And Mr. Rajapaksa mentioned quite a few of them, and I want to echo that. We should develop in areas such as software in artificial intelligence, machine learning, robotics, biotechnology, drug development, medical device development, healthcare, alternate energy, clean environment, and so on. But how do we do this? We do this by branding. If I am in an elevator 20 years ago, somebody would ask me, say, oh, you must be a doctor. Not anymore. They see me and they think I'm Indian and they say, oh, are you in IT? Because in India, they branded themselves as the Mecca of software. They are in software development. They branded themselves in the field of software development. If we think of manufacturing, we think about China. Every country, or if we think of the United States, we think of innovation. So we as a nation, we must brand ourselves. We have to choose on those areas that we must brand ourselves. Obviously, we do not have to brand ourselves in software because it's already been taken by India, not that we cannot compete with them. Because we have an intellectual nation, we have an intelligent, intellectual population, we have a great potential to develop a new economy based on innovation in selected fields. We can also develop world-class universities. Someone mentioned this morning about Nepal. Someone mentioned about Singapore. Nobody heard about the universities in Singapore 20 or 30 years ago. Today, there are 3 universities in Singapore that are in the top 100 universities in the world. Can we develop a world-class university? The answer to that is yes. But to do so, we must adopt new concepts, new ideas, open to innovation, open to a change. We can make Sri Lanka the technology hub of Asia. One of the areas is we can provide education for South Asia or in Asia in general. We can provide education in medicine, in engineering, sciences, business by developing world-class universities. To come back and re-emphasize one of the most important aspects of what I want to tell you is this mental mindset development does not happen, cannot happen after the students finish their university education. The educators in this country must adapt some of the things that have proven to do well in countries like United States. That is to make this happen in the grade school, in the kindergarten, in the second grade, and so on. I am in the board of directors of Texas Medical Center Innovation Center called TMCX. After I go back, there is a competition of grade school students who are about, I'm going to say about 10 or 12 years old, who have come up with new ideas, new innovations. These are 12-year-olds who are going to come and present their ideas to a group of scientists, doctors, and so on. And based on my experience from the last year, these kids have come up with some very neat ideas that are really practical and have enterprise opportunity. We can do it. We can do it if we make a cultural change in how we think about education. Thank you very much.